let's start with John Lennon. How about that? Or do you want to just talk about all of them at once?
Well, I think we'll probably talk about the whole thing. If you're watching this on replay, by the way, so thanks for checking this out. This is going to be a good chat, I think, today. And we're going to do a bit of demonstration of some of the parts and how they work and all that kind of stuff. And I think parts is the important word here. So just before we went live, Mark and I were talking about how, I guess, at the time of the Beatles, right? So they're playing guitar, they're coming up, and the guitar hero isn't a thing in 1958. I mean, you've got Chuck Berry and Eddie Cochran and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And in the UK, Hank Marvin and that kind of thing. And there are guitar players, but they're very much in the background. Nobody's really like, I love that guitar player. It's more about this singer or, that song or that kind of stuff, I think. And it's only towards the end of the Beatles sort of recorded output that then suddenly there's these guitar heroes, Beck and Clapton and Hendrix and those guys. And then I think being a good guitar player kind of morphs into, what an amazing guitar solo, or look at that guy, he set his guitar alight, or look at that guy, he smashed up his guitar, and the parts almost get forgotten. What do you think about that, Mark?
Well, let's do this, where you talk about guitar heroes before we get into the Beatles. And I agree with you. Last week when we were talking about whether Hendrix is the greatest guitar player of all time, and I said, I think that he's second to Page because of the material. I put a lot of value on the quality of songs. And if you go back and look at any list of the top 10 greatest guitar solos of all time, all of them are very melodic solos. They're not long, flashy blues solos. I mean, I'm not a real fast player, and I'm pretty sure if you gave me a top 10 list, I could play all 10, Bohemian Rhapsody, Stairway to Heaven, Hotel California, Blue Sky by the Allman Brothers, one of my favorites. 25 or 6 to 4 is a great one. Solo. You don't like that one?
I just think that's just, anyway, whatever. I'm not a big fan of that song.
Movies and Stuff mentioned Freebird, and that's one of the few exceptions. A lot of the Southern rock, Freebird, and then if you ever listen to, I don't know if you all know the song Greengrass and High Tides by the Outlaws, but guitar playing on that is ridiculous. I mean, it's so fast and it's articulated well, and it's actually pretty melodic. But a lot of times, they get into the jam bands, get into just playing as fast as they can. Like, I don't particularly think Freebird is a great solo. I loved playing Freebird when I was 15 because I could just go, what is it? I'm playing a 12 string now, but and just do that over and over again. And it sounded kind of like the record. But one of the few really kind of tricky solos that's I would think an all-time classic is the solo to "Sweet Child of Mine." There's a small section in the middle there that I think Slash, when he improv'd it, just did it in a real tricky way. But other than that, most of the solos, and then a lot of the Steely Dan solos too. "Don't Take Me Alive," Kid Charlemagne, which is my all-time favorite, and Ricky, Don't Lose That Number. Great solo on that one too. But the point being that all of these are great parts. I mean, they're great solos because they really worked well and they complemented the song. And that's what the Beatles did better than anybody. I mean, I don't think there's much debating that.
Yeah, and I think something that's a bit lost is the wonder of amazing rhythm guitar playing as well. It's like, nobody really, like, when you think about AC/DC, for example, everybody goes on about Angus, and only really guitar people who, I don't know, people who've been playing the guitar a long time go on about Malcolm. Like, for me, Malcolm's amazing. Like, it just absolutely, you listen to some of those really great things, you can actually look up on YouTube, you go Malcolm Young isolated guitar, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that's been uploaded of him, just his guitar parts on some of their hits, right? It's just unbelievable how just awesome he was.
There's some really good timing and some really good syncopation on those. It's funny. Sal mentioned Whipping Post. I actually listened to live at the Fillmore East. That's what I listened to this afternoon. I listened to Whipping Post and In Memory of Elizabeth Reed. And I think that's one of the best examples of kind of flashy guitar players that were also really melodic. I think Dickie Betts is a guitar player that I would say is underrated. Really melodic, but still had crazy chops. But you mentioned rhythm guitar. So one of the most difficult, maybe not most difficult, but a really difficult part to play is John's rhythm part on All My Lovin'. You have to play that 6/8 triplets over and over again.
Yeah,
and I was
that's
messing
really,
around
really
with it before we got on just a little. We'll probably get demonetized, but you got. Where is it?
Yeah.
A little faster.
It's awesome guitar playing, man.
Great,
and singing harmony at the same time.
Harmonies, yeah, unbelievable. I mean, that's yeah. So I like to see you guys pick that up. I mean, it's not easy to keep that.
It's hard. That's properly hard. That.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then things like riff wise, like
incredible.
Oh, it's back up there, isn't it? Right? While singing harmony. Like, you know, you can give it a bit of it's not an easy thing to be playing those melody notes with your pinky. Is it that, or does it go somewhere else? Anyway. Oh, that's it. Yeah.
Goes back in.
That's right. Yeah.
It's
but things like that, and at pace. And I think the other thing is, whilst they everybody gets better all the time. Right? I think a great example, we were talking before a bit about the Get Back Doco, and you compare the George's parts on One After 909 from whenever it was, 1960 or whatever, to the one that came out on the record, and that's he's obviously got better at playing that kind of stuff, right? But the thing that is often surprising is those first few records, the pace, the tempo at which they play songs, and their playing is right on.
Yeah, and from the beginning, and it's funny. So we say from the beginning, and we refer to, when we say the beginning, we're talking about what, 63, 64.
Yeah. Not
really the beginning. The beginning was 57, and by 63, 64, these guys had played more than I've played. You and I combined have played in our lives, probably. 12 hours a night in Hamburg, 5-6 nights a week. I mean, I think about some of the bands that I've been in. If we played out twice a week and rehearsed once a week, maybe 6-7 hours, we were tight. These guys were playing 50 hours a week, 60 hours a week on stage together. They're monster musicians. Somebody had written in a Zeppelin, or Beatles Zeppelin comparison, that the Beatles were tunesmiths that could barely play their instruments. Where Zeppelin were virtuosos. I'm like, idiot. You're just an idiot. That's all I got to say. I hope that guy's watching tonight. There's only 22 people on. He's probably not, but what an idiot. Like that. These guys were incredible. And it's another interesting thing is, if you think about some of the great inventions, a lot of them are low-hanging fruit. Like, I remember in 2001, the guy that won this $1 million prize for the best invention had put a battery in one of those wrenches. It just, it opens and closes like that. Had put a battery in it. It's always low-hanging fruit. And that's what the Beatles did. They took every conceivable piece of low-hanging fruit and turned it into an amazing song. I mean, just the idea of taking that bar chord, right? Taking the major and the seventh, just playing that chord and just outlining the chord like that with a crazy riff. I mean, so much of their stuff. Blackbird, same thing, right? Just real simple, simple chords. Incredible parts though. And they're just
that's
one
right.
after another, and album after album too. The consistency.
Yeah, 100%. So, and I think that you know, like I was saying, the tempo. So something like that, all my loving part, like you can do da-da-la, 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 but it's not da-da-la, da-da-la, it's da-da-la, 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 and consistently for, you know, quite a while. Like you try and do that for a minute, your hand, you're gonna know that you've been playing it.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And I think, you know, loads of those parts, they nailed them. And also, it's not like they had forever in the studio to nail them.
No,
like at the beginning, like okay, lads, we've got 5 hours. You've got 5 hours spare. Let's make a record.
Right. Yeah.
It's just unbelievable, right?
Another one I mentioned, I was telling Simon before we went on, I can tell you unequivocally the worst single song performance of my career was we were playing this, it was an important gig, and for some reason we opened with She Loves You. And those of you that know She Loves You, it's very tricky to play and sing. It's all syncopated. It's not, and to me, it's not intuitive. And I just totally bombed it. I mean, really bombed it. I think we actually broke down and we opened with it. It was just horrible. But yeah, from She Loves You was 63. Right from the beginning, the parts were complex. I mean, it wasn't like,
and clever as well. Like, you know, that it's clever. This is before partial chords were a thing, right? We were talking about Jimi Hendrix the other week. Partial chords. Yeah. All that kind of stuff. All that kind of stuff. But you know, they're, you know.
Yeah, like the. Another awesome. Great, the idea of having a fade in, right? I think they were the first band ever to have a fade in. The first band to start a song with feedback. I think Sgt. Pepper was the first gatefold sleeve, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that kind of thing. I always wondered if it was actually more like this.
Oh, you can do it. Yeah, another guy that watches my channel does it every time perfectly. I tried that over and over. Do that again. Everybody had to do that.
So what I'm doing is I've got
gently,
I've got my fingernail there, right? And I'm just going, hang on, dude. I've got technology for this. Look at this. Wild.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So I'm going, and just as I go towards the string,
For those of you, do that again. Make sure you're looking at the 5th string, everybody, not the string that Simon's fretting, not the 4th string.
Oh yeah, so I'm hearing this one, right?
Yeah.
So so feedback. I'm not sure it's feedback. You know, maybe that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I'm sure if it is, I'm sure it was planned and it was calculated. Not John just didn't lay his guitar against the amplifier. That's like, I wonder how far in advance they had will the people in the cheap seats clap your hands, the rest of you rattle your jewelry. I'm sure that he had that set up probably months in advance, or somebody.
Yeah, now that is true. And Sandra, D7 chords. She's mentioned they had a lot of D7 chords.
Here, there, and everywhere. Another low-hanging fruit song.
Yeah, well, it's just all in order, right?
Yeah.
My thing with the Beatles, you can always tell a sort of Beatlesiness because you get that, you know, that, and then that shape 7 chord. They always use that up and down the neck, right? So you go. And that's just a great sound, because every time I play that kind of chord, that voicing, it just makes me think Beatles.
So another real interesting one is, if any of you play in bands and you do Day Tripper, a really important part of having that song sound good live is the rhythm. It's just the rhythm guitar doing it. Having that rhythm behind the. Hilly says he's astounded at how good Paul was. Yeah, Paul was an amazing guitar player too. And Paul's bass playing, and forget about it. One of probably the most unique, most inventive bass player. I'm prone to hyperbole, so I'll just say it, of all time.
Do you think he just played too many notes?
I don't think he played too many notes. I think he. Another tough song is "Get Back," right? That's another tough one to keep that chicka chicka down to that shuffle. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think generally the rhythm playing is astounding, and I think the inventiveness around who plays what as well is astounding, and how well the parts go together, right?
You know what? While we're doing this, I'll throw some Beatle trivia out there. I had tons of Beatle trivia. So Ringo got sick on the Australian wing of their 64 tour, and they needed a replacement drummer for 8 shows. Who was the replacement drummer? Anybody know that one?
I was on the way to a gig the other night, and the guy who drove the cab to the gig went to go and see that gig in Adelaide in 1960, whatever it was.
64. I thought you were going to tell me that was the guy that played the gig.
No, he didn't play the gig.
He drives the cab now.
Yeah.
84 years old and drives a cab.
Yeah,
I'll throw some more out there too while we're waiting. I got to think of some good ones here. I got to dig deep on this. But all right. So play us some riffs, Simon. Give me your top. Play some of your top 10 Beatle riffs.
Oh my God! If only I'd prepped something, that would have been good, wouldn't it? What have we got? I like. Do you know what I like? I really like the solo in "Let It Be." The original one. The reason I like it so much is that he always lands in the chord, and that is a really cool device to make something sound very kind of, in with the tune. And that's not by mistake, right? He's doing that 1,000% on purpose. So, the chords in Let It Be are C, G, A minor, F, pretty much. And then C, G, F, C. So you get this kind of thing where it starts off going, the down, 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 down. Let's see if I can. Right, so like in that section, you get that. There's a G, and then A minor, bending to an E, back down to C, which is in F, right? This is super, super clever. For the C, and then the... Just awesome. So like that, things like that, obviously this is later stage Beatles, but you can see George has obviously gone and listened to some of the guitar heroes who probably weren't guitar heroes in 1967. They're just like guys who were pretty good at playing the guitar. Oh, that Clapton, he's pretty good at playing guitar.
There was the Clapton is God stuff, right? That people.
Yeah.
I wonder how many, they said that, people were spraying that on subway walls. If you think about it, like only one person has to spray it on a subway wall. If it's in like one of the main subway stations in London, like 5 million people are going to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, one of my favorites is this one. Let me just.
Something is another great solo. Yeah.
So that so that is very neatly played, because when I teach people about soloing, he does actually reference that a bit, because he does exactly the right thing that you should do. That sounds good. Repetition.
Yeah, I was going to say, play the same note over and over again. Some of the best.
And that repetition, same again, 4 and 1. And don't start on the 1. That's the other thing. Don't ever start on a 1. That's the worst thing. To kill a solo, start on the 1. It's the most boring note you could possibly start, base beat you could start on. You know, so he's like, it's like 1 and 2, 4 and 1. It's just awesome, right? It's awesome guitar playing. But from a written solo point of view, like it's something you can sing along with.
Yeah.
Again, that is the trick.
I think my favorite, I have so many favorite George parts, but my favorite George solo, because it's so simple and it's just so understated and perfect, is his solo in Carry That Weight. Really
great.
I can't play it with this. Well, I probably could.
And all that. You know, that
part.
Love that. You know, it's just great. There's so many great parts.
Abbey Road is perfect. Movies and Stuff says the medley on Abbey Road is perfect. It's damn near close to it, if not. Yeah. I was my favorite Beatle album for a long time. Did anybody answer the question? I don't know if anybody got the question right.
Who the drummer was, the fill-in drummer in Australia?
I'll give the answer. The answer is Jimmy Nicol.
That's right.
That was the drummer. Yeah.
That's right.
Who was Dear Prudence about? That's an easy one for you Beatle. You Beatle people know that one.
But that's a cool riff as well. That's the descending riff, right?
Another great riff. Yeah. Yeah. Great one.
But that sort of descending, it just sounds so standard now, but there's, you know, like, I don't know. Oh, that's another good one.
Such easy stuff, but just so like you said, perfect for the song. But they're awesome riffs in their own right. I mean, you could crank up the distortion, and a lot of these riffs, Day Tripper would sound great with a lot of gain on it.
Yeah.
Prudence,
yeah.
Farrell, Orville got it. Yes, I knew Orville would know it. I just didn't know if he would jump in right away.
There was a band that did a cover of that, wasn't there? Like the high gain sort of version
of Dear Prudence, or of Day Tripper.
Day Tripper.
I'm sure that there's probably multiple covers of it.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Did the Pretenders do that?
The Pretenders? I don't know.
Yeah, I think they might have.
Somebody can look it up.
And the other thing I like a lot about, and this isn't really so much about the guitar playing, it's more about a bit of a theory, and I don't know if this is true or whatever. It's just completely invented, maybe. But the interesting thing about all Beatles music is that there's never a gap where there's no melody. Do you know what I mean? Like, so if you think of like, She Loves You, you've got that bit. And then anytime there's a gap, that riff comes in.
Everything is filled in,
like everything is chock-a-block, and you listen to all the things. Like, so you think even like something like Across the Universe, it's got, and the time, the bars. You don't notice about the bars at the time, because it's like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. It's like a sneaky bar of 5 sneaks in there, and then later in the tune there's like sneaky bars of 2. And I think it's just whatever carried the melody. Like From Me to You is like new, oh Love Me Do. Those sort of songs. There's never a gap in the melody. Whereas you can contrast that with like Knocking on Heaven's Door by Bob Dylan, and you've got like 2,
silence.
3. Yeah. There's all this space. If the Beatles had written that, it would have been like, we can't use it anymore. There would be like a bar of 2 at the end of every line, right?
Think about, just go back to the first album, which was, you had mentioned, I don't know if you'd mentioned earlier or before we logged on, about how they didn't have much time to record the first couple albums. I think the first album was recorded in 12 hours, and there's some amazing songs on there. There Is a Place. Is Ask Me Why on the first album too? Gosh, I should know.
I've got to say,
I know it's the 6th song
like
off.
I like the Beatles, but I'm not.
But that's another great one. And I Saw Her Standing There. And there's so many great songs even on the first album.
Yeah, it's really, really interesting. So, so in terms of like, did the Beatles play good guitar? Yeah.
Amazing guitar players. If anybody, the reason that you don't hear any shredding is because who plays that shred on the classical guitar in between Bungalow Bill and is that George playing that?
I don't know.
That's a fast run. So, but
I have no idea who that.
If they wanted to shred, they could have, right? If they had come at a different time and they'd still logged on those those 7 years of playing 6 nights a week, 12 hours a night, and they were more into rhythm and blues, they would have all been crazy, monster shred players or, Clapton, Page type of players, flashier players.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's the flashiness actually that convinces people that somebody's a good guitar player. One of my favorite bits, one of my records I listened to a lot when I was younger was that Unplugged record by Eric Clapton. And they play Old Love, which is one of my favorite tunes of theirs. Maybe. And there's a bit in the solo, Clapton is playing this thing and he absolutely whatever it is, it's something like that, and he's like ba ba ba, and he plays this beautiful melodic part, and it's just fantastic guitar playing. And then he gets to one bit where he's going, which actually technically is probably the easiest part of the solo, and it's at that part the crowd goes woo, and it's just like, man, there's just so much awesomeness before that, and you've been fooled into the shiny stuff. Do you know what I mean?
What's gosh, is it I Will that has the guitar line that the Cars ripped off? My Best Friend's Girl. Yeah. So another great. The Cars wrote an entire song around kind of I won't say a throwaway, but just a single riff in a song, and almost a nondescript riff in a song.
Aha! Here we've got an answer. Orville tells us that Bungalow Bill thing. Somebody
says Jackson Browne is a poet. So one of my favorite Jackson Browne songs is Fountain of Sorrow. I love that. The first couple lines of that, he talks about taking a picture of his girlfriend. I like Jackson Browne. I've seen Jackson Browne in concert about, I think 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
I started getting a little negative Jackson Browne after, the story was that he was beating the crap out of Daryl Hannah. That kind of, but who knows if it's true or not.
Pretty gross. So part wise, how about this one? That's a good one.
Amazing. Yeah, we could sit here all day and play parts back and
forth. All that, the invention of the parts in that song is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. And they matured so much. Each album, there's so, like you said, so much going on.
To take something which is basically a guitar exercise and make it sound so cool is awesome. Because those intervallics, those kind of things you practice in the major scale. So you're playing the first step, and then I'm skipping one, and then I'm going back to the second of the scale, and I'm going to the fourth, and then back to the third and the seventh. Sorry, seventh, third, fifth. That kind of thing. I love those. They're a good cheat code for any swing song.
Sorry.
So sometimes I used to get booked as a jazz guitarist. I'm not really a jazz guitarist, but I can get by. And so it'd be like, you'd be doing this kind of, and I just pull out the, and suddenly I've got instant jazz guitar.
Who says you can't walk a bass on a 12-string? Can do everything on this guitar.
You like that guitar, hey?
There's a Reverend. They should love me. I swear. I can't say enough good things about this guitar. You can play it, like I said, you can play it just like a 6-string. I mean, there's a few things you can't do. Get that weird. Can't do like a heavy bend, but these sound cool when you bend.
Wow. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go. So I do have a Reverend guitar, but I've got to say it sits there looking at me on the wall. I think I'm going to get rid of it. But there you go.
Is Karina a light wood? I don't even know because the guitar is super light as well.
Yeah, it's like very it's got good sustain. Huh?
Okay, here's another Beatle. Who wrote "Fixing a Hole"? See how good our Beatle people are here. There's 24 on now, so.
Oh, killing it.
Oh, "Fixing a Hole." Mark says, "I hate Reverend." Oh, because he likes to call it a sinestral. You guys know what sinestral is, right? It's a left-oriented. He's left-handed.
They don't make left-handed guitars.
I've never heard anybody use it in that regard, but it's
I like
cool.
it.
It's a good word, yeah.
It's very European. I like the sinestral.
He's an Australian, Mark Hill.
No, I know, I'm aware.
Yeah.
Oh, Lennon? Question mark. What does that mean?
No, Lennon. No. George. We got people just throwing.
Surely it's.
Apparently people don't know. So I'll give you a hint. One of their entourage helped write it and was paid a lump sum of money, a flat fee, instead of getting writing credit for it.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah. So it was Mal Evans. How did Mal Evans die? Does anybody know how Mal Evans died? See if people get that.
Was Mal Evans, was it Fixing a Hole?
Yeah, Mal Evans, yeah.
He was the bus driver or truck driver or whatever.
I think Neil drove maybe Mal did. Neil Aspinall drove, I forget in the early days who, I think.
In the doco, who's the dude writing all the lyrics down?
Yeah. That's Mal, yeah.
Playing
the anvil on Maxwell's Silverhammer.
Oh, that's just a song.
I could have played the anvil on that. I always wonder how do the people get the jobs? You ever watch Investigation ID channel? I don't know if you guys even get that. It's in the US, it's true crime is very popular, and they have an entire channel dedicated to these 1-hour reenactments of real murders. And I have a friend who gets a lot of these gigs in these, and sometimes he just plays the dead guy. Like he literally just goes there and he plays. I could play the dead guy.
I don't know. I reckon there's a skill in it. There's a lack of breathing that you'd have to be able to do.
Yeah. You have to I guess you have to really make sure that you don't move your like being a ventriloquist kind of.
Yeah, maybe.
Give me your top 5 favorite Beatles riffs.
Oh my God.
Let's get
one of my favorite is the
crowd involved.
I love that one. I love that one. I'm not going to put a capo, but
how could I?
I have to put a capo for the other one.
Here Comes the Sun.
Yeah, you can't. It just sounds crap, doesn't it? You know all that? It's just fantastic.
Back in the USSR, that's a good one. Yeah. Bam, 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 bam.
Yeah, and then arpeggios.
Yeah, another great.
Awesome, really awesome. That was 4.
Yeah.
4. I need one more. Oh. I love that they hit it so hard that you get that.
Yeah.
That where you hear the low E string go out of tune and come back in.
Around, yeah.
It's awesome. You know. Oh, it's almost like It almost hurts. Oh, and then things like Michelle and
another great one. Yeah,
Riffs, and then I'm going to play with the I really love the demo version of something on Anthology 2.
Yeah.
Two? The one that he's like. And he does all this kind of.
Like Hendrix.
All those Georgisms. It's cool. And then when he goes to the in that section, he's asking me where my love.
Yeah, so many good.
And then I don't know that bit, and then he goes, where's it go? Down, 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 down. And he kind of dums along with it. And I love that because you can, in his head, he has got the song already. Like he's got all the parts, all those orchestral things, the do, 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 do. You're asking me, no, no, no. I don't know. And then he does it again. And then there's a middle eight in it, which never even gets in the song.
Yeah, every one of their songs is so layered. When I write a song, if I come up with a really good melody over a chord progression, I'm stoked, and I'm like, that's my song is done, right? Oh, I came up with a great verse and a great chorus. This song is done. These guys, they wrote a great verse and a great chorus, and they just layered them over and over. Like Don't Let Me Down has got so many great. Every song has got so many great parts. Don't Let Me Down has got so many great parts in it. You could take a single album and really examine the 12 or 13 songs in each album. You could come up with probably 40 or 50 amazing guitar parts on each album. There are just so many great parts.
Yeah, absolutely. And Sandra's talking about we've got some stuff in the chat about who outsold the Beatles with a cover of one of their songs.
Who outsold the Beatles with a cover of one of their songs? Outsold the Beatles like what? Like, I don't know.
I think maybe their version sold more copies than the Beatles version.
Than the Beatles version.
That one.
I don't know. Maybe I'm trying to think. There were so
many. Maybe Little Help from My Friends. That wasn't the single.
Yeah, Joe Cocker.
What about the one that Stones did?
That couldn't be it because they didn't release that as a single.
No.
So that wouldn't. It would have to be something. It would have to be something early.
This is a good crack.
What's going on?
Is that true?
What's that?
Jeff says, yes, I saw him standing there by Tiffany.
I saw him standing there by Tiffany. Maybe that did. I bet that did outsell.
That's always funny when you come up with these people that you just literally haven't thought of for about 30
years. Did Frank Sinatra do a cover of something, or was that what it is?
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah,
it was a cover of something.
A Little Help from My Friends wasn't released as a single.
Yeah, maybe it was what's the name? Sinatra. Did Sinatra do
something released? Marianne Faithfull or something? One of those deals?
No. It was like an R&B guy. He did something.
Bobby Blue Bland?
No, somebody a bit more. Oh, I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't know. Was it in the Shirley Bassey?
Burley Chassis.
Maybe that might have been in Australia or England. I don't think.
Shirley Bassey. So
yeah, not in the U.S. I don't think. But I don't know. Was something released as a single? I don't think it was.
Wasn't that a double A side? Something and something else?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, let me look that up here while we're.
You look that up. I'm going to carry on trying to think of who this R&B guy is.
While I fact check this. Yeah, I
fact check.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that! It's out. We're living in the modern world. I went to one of my students did a gig the other night, which was awesome. So good for him. It was his first ever gig, just at an open mic night with a band. and he played great, you know, and they had a go at Sweet Child of Mine as well, which is always hardcore. But the singer was holding the phone and reading the words, which was quite disappointing, I've got to say. I came home and told my wife, Amanda, who's a professional singer, and she was just like, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. So what's the answer, Mark?
So we've got, let me see here, the EP, it was released as an EP. Let me see, something, I'll look up, I'll do the wiki on it here. It was, it was double A side. It was double A side with Come Together.
Look at that! I actually knew something.
The A side two.
That's very surprising.
Wait for this one says.
So Mark, you're really letting us hang.
It says Shirley Bassey had a top 5 hit with her version of Yesterday. Something received for the best song musically and lyrically. The Beatles sold 1.4 million copies in the U.S. of the double A side. Something, and so Shirley Bassey, it says she did Yesterday. Did she do Something as well? Let me see. Something.
She did a bunch of those tunes.
Yeah, she did her History Repeating too, right? Wasn't that her on the?
I love that. Big things like Goldfinger and Diamonds Are Forever and Big Spender. You know, all that business. Etc. Etc.
So it says it says her song didn't hit #1.
Okay, Mark here. Oh, hang on. Somebody said yes.
Yes. What are we doing here? So it says
I don't know what the yes is for.
It says that her song didn't chart in the U.S. and it did hit #1 in the UK. So 28. Her album had 28 weeks in the top 50 though. So it became the title track. Something became her biggest UK hit for many years, spending 22 weeks on the chart. So that's probably what it is. It probably did outsell Something Come Together in the UK.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. In the UK. And
is Sandra doubling that? Because Sandra lives in the UK as well. Yeah, I don't know a lot about. I really don't know a lot of UK trivia, a lot of UK stuff. I was really surprised. Like the band here in the US, the band Status Quo is a one-hit wonder band that had the song "Pictures of Matchstick Men," which is the most annoying song ever written. Worst.
It's like a horrible sort of flower power.
Yeah, and then in England they've had like 47 hits. I never even heard of them. You know, I'd never heard of any of those songs. So another one was Sweet. You know, Sweet had "Love Is Like Oxygen" became a radio song, and "Fox on the Run" was like in the lower reaches of the top 100. And in the UK they had like 8 or 9 hits.
They did a few hits, but the Status Quo definitely are.
Status Quo for years. Yeah, we're a huge band in England. So
I used to work in a guitar store, and Rick Parfitt came in one day and bought a Telecaster, and I was only about 14 or 15, and it was just like, Rick Parfitt, I can't believe he's come into the store.
Was he the guitar player for Status Quo?
He was one of the guitar players. Yeah.
And I teach Hilly. I call him Hilly, Mark Hill. I teach guitar to him, and he said that whenever he thinks Telecaster, he thinks Status Quo. He calls them the Quo. You know, like I said, Quo. You know, again, it's where you I guess it's what you've been exposed to. There's a lot of bands that didn't do anything. I'm sure there's tons of bands I've never even heard of. There was a band that what was the band, Hilly, that there was some Australian band that he wanted to learn a song by. I never heard of
so many.
Yeah. So,
there's a lot of that.
I forget the name of the band, but it was a good song, whatever the song was.
There's lots of great songs. There's lots of great songs in the world. That narrows it down. Yes, you want to talk about rhythm, Rick Parfitt.
Perfect.
So, Mark.
Yes.
I think that covers us off. Do you think?
It does. I think so, yes. So, if you haven't watched my video today, best capo songs of all time, and I did miss some good ones. I missed My Sweet Lord, and I missed Into the Mystic. If I had thought of that, I would have put that on there. That would have definitely cracked the top 10.
Maybe next time we're going to have to do the best post-Beatles record.
Best,
just to get some.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's talk about that for 1 minute, and then we'll come off. Best post-Beatle. I think it comes down to 2 records.
Yeah.
See if you can guess what I'm thinking of. What 2 records am I thinking of?
Well, I know.
You know?
Do you want me to guess, or do you want people to guess?
I want people to guess. What 2 records? They're not both by the same person. That's a hint.
They're by different people.
Yeah. And I'll give you another hint.
Obvious. One of them is obvious.
One of them is not All Things Must Pass.
What?
Yes, no.
You're
Band on the Run. Band on the Run is the obvious one, right?
Wrong.
Band on the Run, and what else? What's my other favorite one? Band on the Run, Near Perfect album, right? 1985. No one ever left alive. 1985.
It's not Imagine, is it, Mark?
And the other one is Plastic Ono Band.
Oh, really?
Oh, I love that. The Plastic Ono Band. That whole album is incredible. It's got God and Love Is Real and Hold On John and Working Class Hero. Oh, brilliant. Rock and Roll John Lennon. Definitely not. No, not that one. Anyway, those are my. What are your 2? All Things Must Pass.
All Things Must Pass, and it's hard, isn't it? Between
too much
Band
filler
on the Run.
All Things Must Pass.
Band on the Run is pretty good.
Yeah, if you
What's the record with? Yeah.
Mrs. Vanderbilt, not the greatest song, Mamunia, but overall, it's an incredible album.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, maybe we'll talk about that next time.
Yes.
So, thanks very much for watching, everybody.
Yes, thank you all. We really appreciate it. Good crowd tonight, and we will see you 2 weeks from tonight. We will have another great topic for you. I want to do lyrics. I want to do the best lyricist of all time.
I know you like lyrics, don't you?
The
trouble is, I am rubbish with words.
There's only one good lyricist in the history of rock music. Only one person deserves the moniker poet.
Don't give it away. Don't give it away.
Don't give it away. We're going to leave that as a cliffhanger. With that, good night.
Ciao.
Thank you all. Be safe. Be good.